Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and being a car guy my whole life, I have driven some pretty unspectacular cars, and what I've noticed is that there's one thing that most people don't talk about when they review a car, and that's four little words. Feel. Not horsepower, not 0 to 60, not reliability charts. Feel. And yes, before anybody loses their mind, this is all subjective. That's the whole point. These are the cars that don't just drive badly, they feel wrong. It's like the engineers finished a CAD file and then forgot to actually drive the thing. So I'm gonna run you through each of the most unmemorable machines that I've ever driven. And if you've ever rented cars, worked in the industry, washed cars, flipped cars, or had friends with terrible taste, you've probably driven in or driven these too. And let's start off with the undisputed heavyweight champion of the automotive industry, the Dodge Caliber. Now, this car didn't just get roasted, it was the main feast. It dominated, and for very good reason. The Caliber is what happens when a company asks, what if we made a car that technically moves forward? The steering has no center. The suspension is both too soft and too stiff at the same time. The throttle makes noise instead of speed. You press the gas and the engine responds emotionally, not mechanically. It gets louder, it vibrates, it complains, but the car itself doesn't actually accelerate. It feels like it's riding on shopping cart wheels filled with pudding. I've driven faster lawn equipment, I've driven more confidence-inspiring U-Haul trucks, and the most damning part, people weren't just annoyed. People said it killed their love for cars. That's not a bad car, that's a crime. Now, let's talk about Dodge's partner in psychological warfare. Quick, Rocky from New York already drove off with the first GTR and the bonus cash that changed his life. We literally flew him out here. He hung out with us for the whole weekend. We shipped his car back home to New York, and the dude had the time of his life. It genuinely changed everything for him, and now it's your turn. If you want a shot at winning your dream car plus bonus cash, hit the link in the pinned first comment right now. Now, back to the show. The Dodge Journey. If the Caliber is misery in motion, the Journey is misery in bulk. This thing feels like an old refrigerator that someone bolted seats into. The steering is numb. The brakes feel like you're stepping on a damp sponge. The interior looks like it was designed in 2005 and never updated out of spite. Driving it feels like you're being punished for something you don't remember doing. You don't steer the Journey, you negotiate with it. And every time someone says, well, it was cheap, that's not a defense, that's an explanation. Now let's move over to Jeep because, oh boy, the Jeep Patriot. This car feels like it was assembled using Fisher-Price tolerances. The chassis flexes. The drivetrain feels confused. The suspension reacts to bumps 3 business days later. Multiple people said it couldn't climb a steep driveway without a running start. That's not an SUV, that's a suggestion. And then there's the Jeep Compass, which somehow managed to feel even worse. CVT lags so bad you could floor it, change your mind, lift off, and then the car decides to redline. That's not response, that's haunting. Jeep gets a pass for Wranglers off-road. On road, these things feel like ATVs that accidentally got license plates. Which brings us to the Wrangler itself. Now, I've made mistakes in my life, but this was the dumbest one of all. I actually bought a Jeep Wrangler, and here's the thing. The Wrangler does one thing incredibly well, and if you're not doing that one thing, it is absolutely miserable. The steering wanders, the ride crashes, the pedals feel disconnected. Driving one on pavement feels like guiding a drunk shopping cart down a sidewalk made of potholes. People get defensive about this car, but the truth is simple. If you buy a Wrangler and then complain about how it drives on the highway, that's on you. Now let's talk about something that pretended to be modern, the Nissan Juke. First gen Juke, the steering communicates through homing pigeons. The body control is what I describe as waterbed adjacent. You turn the wheel and hope the car agrees with you eventually. It's twitchy, tall, awkward, and completely disconnected. Yes, it had power for its size. No, that did not help. It felt like a hot hatch that forgot how gravity works. Now let's talk about one that I definitely am gonna get some hate in the comments, and it's very controversial, the Kia Soul. This car isn't evil, it's just depressing. Everything feels flimsy, the transmission hates you, the steering feels like stirring soup with a plastic spoon. And then there's the legendary story of the Soul with the unlimited mileage warranty, 10 engines, 9 transmissions. That's not ownership. That's a science experiment. The soul doesn't offend your senses, it drains them. Now let's talk about the rental car that I had when I was in Europe for a second, the Renault Captur. High seating position, soft suspension, sketchy stability at speed. Multiple people said it felt unstable at highway speeds, and honestly, I believe them. This is a car that feels fine until it suddenly doesn't, and that's worse than being bad all the time. Okay, so let's talk about something that I actually kinda defend, sorta, the Lincoln Town Car. This one is fascinating. Objectively, it drives like a melted couch. You turn the wheel, wait, and then the car responds like it just woke up from a nap. But here's the thing, it's not pretending to be sporty, it's a living room. If you try to drive it like a modern car, it's awful. If you lean back and guide it like a pontoon boat, it makes sense. This isn't a bad feeling car, it's an honest feeling car in the wrong area. Okay, now let's hit something modern again, the Ford EcoSport. This thing feels like it was engineered with contempt. No power, no isolation, steering accuracy of a blindfolded dart throw. It rides stiff like a sports car, but accelerates like it's dragging a trailer full of regrets. And somehow, it doesn't even get good fuel economy. That's impressive in the worst possible way. Now let's talk about the smart car, the Smart 4.2. This is where engineering crossed into performance art. The transmission shifts so slowly, the car loses speed between gears. The automated manual rocks the entire chassis like it's seasick. People got motion sickness driving these, not riding in them, driving them. And yes, they're practical in cities, but practicality does not excuse terror. Finally, let's talk about the meta lesson, because this thread isn't about one bad car, it's about a pattern. The worst feeling cars all share the same traits: delayed responses, disconnected controls, suspension that can't decide what it's there for, powertrains that make noise instead of progress. These cars don't fail on paper, they fail in your hands, and that's why people remember them years later, not because they broke, but because they felt wrong. A car can be slow and still be enjoyable. A car can be cheap and still be honest. But when a car feels like it's actively fighting the idea of being driven, that's when people turn off to it. That's when a car stops being transportation and becomes a story people tell as a warning. All right, I'm done. If your car is on this list and you love it, well, genuinely good. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm glad it works for you. But if you've driven one of these and felt the same thing that I did, well, let me know down below too, because you're not crazy. I'll see you in the next one. And remember to go to winthisIdealCar.com to get entered to win your dream car plus cash. Like, subscribe, turn on this notification bell over here. Check out these vids over here. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. We'll catch you next weekend. Promise you one thing: keep living the ideal lifestyle.